Hey guys, so today we're checking out the crystal headlights, the black housing, and the clear lens fitting all 2007 to 2013 Silverado 1500s. So if you are looking for an update or a refresh to the front end of your Silverado when it comes to your headlights, then this option is going to be a great choice to take a look into. Now this will be for the Silverado owners who are really just looking for an upgrade when it comes to the housing on their headlights. Now these are going to be a direct replacement for the factory style housings, except for these are going to offer a little bit more of a stealthy look or a blacked out look with that black housing there, which will be perfect for anybody who is a fan of the more blacked out or sleek aesthetic. Now these are also going to be a great choice for anybody who has damaged a headlight housing or has the typical fog or typical wear and tear on the factory lens and is just looking for a refresh while also getting more of a blacked out look in the meantime. Now again, these are just going to be for the housings. However, these will have more of a factory style setup. So we're going to have the high beam and the low beam in the same position. We're going to have that chrome reflector there, and we're also going to have the amber reflectors on the side, which will offer more of a stock styling compared to some other choices available on the page that switch it up a little bit. Now, I personally think if you're a fan of the stock styling, you're just looking for something that looks a little bit more stealthy and want a refresh when it comes to the actual housing, then this is going to be right up your alley. Now, when it comes to pricing, these are going to be very affordable for what they are at roughly $200 for the pair. Now, in comparison to some other options available on the page, when it comes to headlights in general, a lot of other choices that are going to be more expensive are usually going to include the bulbs, as to where this is going to swap over all of the factory bulbs. They may be a projector lens instead of a standard chrome reflector like this, which bumps up the price, and they may have an LED or an LED daytime running light, as to where this is just going to be just a standard headlight housing. So if you're looking to save a couple bucks, then these are going to be a great option for you. Now when it comes to install, these are going to be very easy to install. I'm going to give this a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about an hour to get the job done with some very basic hand tools. So speaking of the install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used for this install were an impact wrench, 1/4-inch drive ratchet, a 10mm deep socket and a 10mm shallow socket, a 7mm deep socket, and a trim removal tool. So our first step here is to take off the upper radiator shroud. I'm going to be using a trim removal tool to do that. So on this trim piece, we're going to have 8 clips that we need to remove. I'm going to start over on the right-hand side using this trim removal tool. You can also use a flathead screwdriver. Sometimes that is a little bit easier. Once you have one out, we can just continue down the line and remove the other 7. So once all those clips are out, we can just pop this off the top, and then we'll be able to remove our grill. So now we can remove our grill by removing the 4 10mm bolts on the top part of our grill. I'm going to start over on the right-hand side again. Using a 10mm socket, we can go ahead and remove those. Next, what we can do is remove our grill just by pulling back. There's 2 clips on the bottom of the grill on either side. You may, if you're having an issue with them, you may have to compress them, but you should be able to just give a good pull back and remove the grill completely. Next, we can actually work on our headlight. So there's going to be 2 10mm bolts up at the top that are holding in the housing. I'm going to use that same 10mm socket in my impact wrench that we use on the grill and remove these 2 bolts. So the last bolt that we have to access for the headlight in order to remove it is right behind this inner fender liner. Now we can peel this back, but to make it a little bit easier, what I'm going to do is remove this first screw using a 7mm socket. This will just give us a little bit more room to work with so the inner fender liner is not like cutting our hand while we peel it back and are trying to get that bolt out. Right, we can just put this to the side. And you can use like a soft pry tool or a trim removal tool to do this, but I usually just kind of peel it back and then we'll be able to access the bolt, which is right here. So once we pull the inner fender liner back, you can see right underneath here is that bolt that we need to access. I'm gonna take that same 1/4 inch drive ratchet, but a 10mm shallow socket, and we can go ahead and remove that. What we can do now is just grab our headlight and pull back, considering that it is completely disconnected at this point. So once our headlight is pulled back, we can just disconnect our main harness here and pop our headlight out of the way. So before we hop into the install, I did want to stop down and show you our new light next to our factory one, show you some of the similarities and differences between the two while they're sitting here on the table. Now, as a brief overview of our factory light, we're going to have a clear lens, a chrome housing, and an overall stock look to it. Moving over to our new headlight, this is going to be set up pretty much the same as far as the lighting location and the overall construction is concerned. However, with the clear lens, we're also getting a black housing. Now that is going to offer a sleek and stealthy look to the front end of the Silverado in comparison to the chrome housing, which is going to give you a more classic OEM look. And you're still getting that clear lens there. So you're getting the black housing that's going to give you the stealthy look without a smoke lens. This clear lens is not going to take away from any lighting performance. So if you're looking for all of the lighting performance out of your headlights, if you're also looking for that stealthy look or that blacked out look, this is going to be a great choice. Now all of the lighting, including the turn signal, marker light, high beam, low beam, are going to be in the same spot, and we're still going to have our nice amber turn signals over here on the side. So again, they are in the same location. This is more or less just a stealthy version of the stock headlight housing. And speaking of that, we will be swapping over all of our stock headlight bulbs. So what do you say we go ahead and swap those over? So what we can do at this point, now that our headlight is flipped over, is transfer over all of our bulbs. Now, as you can see, these are all connected to a main wiring harness. So really all we have to do is twist the bulb and pull back, being careful of the other ones on the harness. Now these two can be disconnected, but these two on the side cannot. So we're just going to twist and pull back for the time being and swap them all over. So on the back of our new headlight, we're gonna have these little protective covers right out of the box. We can just peel those off and you can discard those. These are just going to protect the opening while the package is shipping. So once all of those are taken off, what we can do is pop our lighting back into place. So once all of your lights are flush and you've turned and locked them, what we can do is head back over to our truck. Now that we're back over at the truck, what we can do is plug in our factory harness. making sure that we hear that click. And then we're gonna line up our headlight housing with the body of our truck. So we're gonna have 2 pins or alignment pins over on the side. There's gonna be 2 holes in the side of the body. And we're gonna have those 2 tabs up top. I'm just going to line this up and pop our headlight in place. Now to hold this in place here, I'm just going to pop in one of our headlight bolts up at the top, and then we can secure that bolt over on the side. Now that we're back in the wheel well, what we can do is pull back this inner fender liner, take our factory bolt and thread that into place. Because of the alignment pins, this should line up very well. And then we can take our 10mm socket, thread that in by hand at first, and then we can tighten it up with our 1/4" drive ratchet. All right, once it's hand tight, we can grab our ratchet and snug that up. Once that bolt is tight, we can grab our screw and our 7mm socket and reinstall that. Making sure that your inner fender liner is tucked into the bumper cover down at the bottom, we can take our 7mm factory screw and reinstall that at the top of our liner. Now to hold the headlight in place, we popped in this 10mm bolt. I'm also going to pop in the other bolt that came out of our factory light. Once both of those are threaded in, we can tighten them up. I'm going to tighten up the top one with a 10mm socket and my impact wrench. Being careful not to over tighten it because this is plastic and it will break. And then the front one, because there's not a lot of room here, you can use an impact wrench and a shallow socket. I'm just going to use the same 1/4" drive ratchet that we used in the inner fender and tighten that up with the 10mm socket. Once both of those bolts are tightened down, we can repeat the same exact process on the other side for our second headlight and then pop our grill back into place. Once both of our headlights are installed, what we can do is pop our grill back into place by lining up the 2 lower clips, giving it a good push, and then we can install the 4 10mm bolts that we originally took out. Once those are all hand threaded, we can take our 10mm socket and tighten them up. Next, we can pop our cover back into place, line it up, and we can take our factory clips and pop those back in. Once your cover is back in place, we can close up the hood and we'll be all set to go. So that is going to wrap it up for my review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos and products just like this, and always keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.